Every single one of us has a dream. You know, it's the thing that gets us out of bed every day. It might be just the dream of, everybody in your world being healthy and happy and their success. You might have some dreams about, your future relationship or job or home but no matter what, just across the board, we all have dreams. And the only thing, I'm here to tell you, there is one thing that is keeping you from flying, from soaring, from today being the day that you realize that dream. The only thing, there's one thing. And it's the same thing that sets you apart from all of the 7 billion people right now that occupy our planet. We have 7 billion people on this planet. And that number grows every single day. And yet, there's only one you. There's only one. So, and there will never be another you. There will never be a replica you. You are one of a kind. And what makes you you is the very same thing that stops you from realizing your dreams in this very moment today. It's your story. It's the story that you're telling. You see, every single one of us, when we were born, again, all 7 billion people are born into this shared dream, this shared story. See, and we're immediately, as your parents, look at this little newborn, the very first thing that they start to do is they start to share the story with you. It's like, dear baby, I want you to know about who you are, what it's like to be a human. You're a little baby girl, you're a baby boy. Here is a dog, here is a cat. Oh, this is your mom, this is your dad. Here's the roles that we play. Here's how you show up and I show up. And now that we can all coexist in this happy society. This is what a wall is. This is what a chair is. This is how we use them. And we tell this story and we all learn it and take it in. And then we live within the boundaries of that story. We all agree this is a chair and we utilize it that way. And then you have your very own individual story. And you start creating that. You start to take pieces of mom, pieces of dad, pieces of your teachers and your friends and all of the experiences you have, and you start to build your own individual story within that shared story. And that creates you. And that story is what has brought you to the point that you are right now if you look around at your life. It's the story that you've written. So the only way for you to change where you're at and what you've achieved and accomplished and where you're going forward is to look at the story you're telling and tweak it. You got to tell another story. How many times a day do you tell your story? Do you tell people, oh yeah, I can't do that because I have this, or, I have these pains and that happened when I was this and I hurt myself here. And we all have a story and we use it as our reason as to why we stay here. And as long as we keep holding on to the story, we're going to keep staying here. But if we can change the story, or we can open it up and we can find somehow our power to transform, to shift, to change, and build that into the story, then suddenly we become limitless. Anything that you dream becomes possible. But to do that, the tricky part, it sounds so easy. Oh, I just have to change my story. But to do that, there has to be ownership. So then you have to say, wait a minute. So you're telling me that my story that I've created in my mind is only a story, and all of the suffering that I've endured in my life due to that story has been because of me. That all I ever needed to do was change the story and I didn't have to suffer anymore. Is that true? And I'm here to tell you, yes. I'm here to tell you, maybe it served a purpose. You needed that story at that time, and it served a purpose. And now we've gained something from that experience. We no longer need the story. But as long as you keep telling that story and allowing yourself to stay stuck, you're going to feel resistance. You're going to feel that calling to grow and to move forward. And you're going to start to feel a sense of struggle. And we have to know this, that we continue to take on shared stories as well. As a community, we love to be around people that have similar beliefs as us. It's why we build communities and, tribes, and, for me, it's a church, religion. We all like to say, hey, these are my beliefs, and then we can congregate somewhere where we know other people have similar beliefs, and it makes us feel good to live in a realm where we share the story, right? And so this is true even now. You see these great divides, people choosing the story. And we're allowing within these stories as well to build in suffering. Because the story that you're choosing is going to limit you in some way. Every story does. Every story has a limit. Every single one says, okay, now here, because I've chosen this story, these are the boundaries of my life. And as long as you're happy within those boundaries, it's fantastic. But if you're no longer happy and you want to expand your boundaries, you want to start realizing a life of your dreams, you want to move into something greater, grander, you want to free yourself into a space that's limitless. To do that, you got to look at the story that you're telling and what you've taken on as your truth, what you've decided is part of your story, and you got to start dismantling it. You got to be willing to let it go. Even if all evidence around you is pointing to it is actual and factual. My story for a long time, the thing that held me back for a long time, was a story that I was a single mom. And I mean, it was true. I had 2 children. I had a home, I had a lot of responsibilities. So I didn't get to, in my story, see, because I told that story, so within that framework meant I didn't get to do the same thing that single people could do. I didn't get to do, make the same choices. And all of that is true because that's real. It's a real fact. But when I started to change the story, when I started to look to it for the limitations and decide that maybe there were other ways I could do that I didn't have to just concede to the story and decide, okay, I couldn't anymore because of this. Maybe there's a way that I could still hold on to that story because it is true. I had children. But I could also live in my life of my dreams if I allowed it. I just started to tweak the story a little bit. So we need to be looking to our stories and how are they blocking us? How are they limiting us? And I hope that you do this today. I really do. Thank you so much.